take a minute real quick and make a video illustrating some points that I think are very important in the self-defense arena. There's been a progression over time in both the tactical communities and the martial arts community as a whole with the advent of mixed martial arts and people actually being able to test out their things against real resistance, and we're starting to see some really good progress in terms of mending the separation between sport and street. And I think that's a very important area that people understand. But what I want to show you kind of how things have progressed and where I think they need to go. We've had great success with it teaching, and I think it's a very important element that's missing in a lot of systems. So what happens is when things first started out in the martial arts community, right, everybody's trying to find the knockout punch. People started to evolve and realize that they needed to have some kind of pre-contact control here, have a fence, have a barrier, and make sure that they're monitoring this guy's hands and keeping space here so that I can de-escalate, find an exit, look for his buddies, and be able to get out of there as soon as I can. But then what ended up happening is a lot of times people started relying on their ability to throw some massive shot and end the fight. So you had guys setting up their shots, bang, they throw in their nice shot here, and they're ready to go, right? Very MMA. I hit the guy, I back up, I reassess, and I'm ready to fight or run away. But the problem is, when I hit him and allow that space, we've got a problem. If he has tools, if he was armed and wasn't sure this was going to be a fight yet, and I throw that first shot, I allow him space to access these tools. So, not the smartest idea. And people kind of started figuring that out. So okay, instead of hitting him and allowing him to create space, I'm going to hit him and keep on hitting him. But then we end up still in these kind of weird situations. People are very averse to just falling down in a fight. They fight back hard. And when you hit people, after your first shot, they tend to shell up, cover up, turn their head. So even if I'm holding on to him, once I've hit him with that first shot, I'm hitting him with a barrage of shots. I've still run into a problem here because I'm relying on striking to put him out. So once he balls up, he starts to tie things up. So he still has that space, and the strikes, some people go down easy, some people don't. Even if I think I'm winning this fight, so we're in this situation, I'm trying to de-escalate, I realize it's not going to happen, and I throw some big heavy shot and turn him all the way around and go in to finish, we still run into a problem here. What looked like an advantageous position for me, which it would be if we're talking MMA and I managed to get in behind the guy, bad news for him. But as you'll see here, if I put him back to the camera, when I fire this shot and he kind of just shells up, and I go in, he's accessing his tools, he has complete access to his waistline, and he's kind of covered, he's okay. The other problem with creating space is, say I'm the aggressor. Okay? I'm being aggressive, he has tools on his person that he wants to access. Right? He pretty much knows if he tries to go into it right now, he's going to be in a clinch, we're going to be tied up. I'm going to stop it, I'm able to foul his draw. But so maybe he does throw that first shot. If it doesn't put me out, even if it just hits me in the palm strike in the face or whatever, yeah, just like right here. As soon as he starts to create space, I'm running in, and now he's in a fight to try and retain that. Okay? And that clinch happens a lot. And the more progressive groups really have an understanding of how to control in the clinch. Okay, they dial in the pieces they need as far as the standing clinch game goes, so that once I get inside here, I can tie the guy up, I can kind of deal with weapons, I might be able to go access my tools, and work to resolve things here. And that's cool, and that's a very important piece of the puzzle. But outside my weight class, this can be a real hazard. Plus, if he's not looking to be aggressive, he's looking just to disengage to get to his tools, as I'm fighting in here, if he can create space, that's all he needs to access his tools and put me in some serious danger. What we've been finding in the gym, in the training, and then working with various groups and kind of going back to the lab and trying to troubleshoot, is that we have to pass through the clinch game. And you've got to have that dialed in, and you've got to train it. But it can't end there. I've got to put the guy on the ground. Now, jiu-jitsu guys have known that for a while, right? Jiu-jitsu guys were always about hit them, control, close the distance, tie them up, dump them on the ground, and they're ahead of the game in terms of that. But we want to look at how that plays out in a weapons-based environment and why it's important. If I keep that pressure, it keeps him from being able to create the space to then escalate the tools, and it allows me to put him on the ground into what is essentially the ultimate in positional control, because now he can't disengage. It allows me to scale force up and down depending on the scenario, depending on who's there and what the situation is. So I can't end in the clinch. I've got to find a way to put him on the ground as soon as possible. Whether I have weapons or he has weapons, or we both have weapons. Because if I can dump him on the ground, even if I'm not going to the ground, I'm not talking about grappling. I'm talking about hitting them with the earth, as Paul Sharp would say. And then, if I want to control him there, cool. If I need to go to weapons there, cool. If I want to give him a boot and then just get out of dodge, I have those options, which I don't have if we're standing. Okay? Once we're tied up and engaged in here, me being able to just back out of here is very difficult if he's aggressive. He'll follow me down. Or he'll have access to his tools. So, as an example, instead of, once we tie up in here, trying to just control and dominate position and then work and fight from that position, I'm going to go a little bit further and try and dump him. So, whether I threw the first shot and then tied on, or back up just a bit, this way we stay on camera, or he throws the shot and I crash and tie him up. If I can get inside here, I can put him on the ground. If his whole idea was hit me and then go to tools, bang, and I leave this space, or I get to here, he still has access, and now I'm fighting to deal with that. If I keep the pressure on him though, and continue to the ground, once he throws that shot, and I tie on, it allows me to get inside and control. And then from there I can decide what to do. I might even end up on his back, so I crash off him. I crash off of this shot here, and as I take him back, again, I can sit him down. Even if he's still accessing his tools here, I can sit him down, monitor what's going on in here, take whatever he's got if he gets it out already. So if he's already got a weapon out, I at least have access to it and control of it. Okay, I can kind of deal with this, which would be much harder if we're standing. Another option is off of this initial shot here, bang, is I can just snap him and work into all of my chokes. In either case, the main point I'm trying to make is that I never, off of that impact, allow space. And if I'm going to hold on to him, I'm not going to let up on pressure. So once I run into him, I'm running him over. So that even if he's trying to get to his weapons, or maybe the fight started with us arguing and then him going to his waistband. If I go to here, we're still in a standing clinch. I want to run him down. So as he goes to his big waistband, this is where I'm going. That was a happy accident. So this video mainly is not about the how, it's about the what and the why. The what is, I need to get the person on the ground. The way I'm going to do that is when we tie in a clinch, I'm going to run him down, create a funnel for his decisions. He's going to push or he's going to pull. He's going to try and disengage or he's going to try and run me down. In either case, I need to dump him on the ground, which allows me to scale force up and down. The why is because anything less than that makes his life easier. It allows him more space, more time to do what he needs to do. As you'll see in this clip that's coming up, this man with no training who confronts the robber just continues with heavy, heavy pressure. The robber actually is armed with 2 weapons and still not able to really put them into use. So it's a good lesson to be learned. I think it's a great illustration of the point I'm trying to make. So I'll let you watch that. Thanks for checking out the video and hope to train with you soon. Okay, so in this video we have this gentleman here, and I have to point out really quickly the sweet Optimus Prime mask that he chose for his little caper. Maybe not the best choice. If he's trying to inspire fear, Megatron might have been a better choice. But he brings a fake gun. When he realizes the fake gun's not going to work, he produces an actual real weapon, which is a knife. It's a Starbucks here, and he's demanding money from the teller. And Not sure what's going on here. Obviously, he's very adamant. He needs to get the money back to the rest of the Autobots stat. Meanwhile, Classy Fred Blassie, we'll see in the background here, comes a run-in. He's going to go chair over the back of the head, and away we go. Now notice, from the moment of impact, he's putting forward pressure, and he's constantly keeping this guy under stress. Look right here, if we're watching, he's actually got a nice, in this section right here, he's got a nice underhook and a palm on the head, so he's working for head control. The guy he's got the weapon in his right hand. He's actually having a hard time getting anything going right now because of the pressure and the positional dominance. And away they go. They're going to switch screens on us right now. And you'll see, still driving. The guy's he gets a couple shots in with the knife, and now he's just getting hammered being in this inferior position. Our hero messes things up a little bit. He pulls him up, and that's where you see he eats a couple shots because he almost pulls the bad guy to standing. But a great illustration of, even without training, keeping heavy pressure and putting the enemy on the floor, you have a much better ability to control things when a weapon is in play than he would if he maintained in a standing clinch. And unfortunately, this is kind of where the video ends. There's no more footage available. I would like to have seen how these things resolved, but I think it's a great illustration of the principles we're talking about as far as positional dominance, pressure, and putting the assailant on the ground.